Alright, going live this time, actually. Okay, we're ready.
All right. Are you ready for me to start the recording?
Yes.
Right. Hello, everyone. I'm here back for another matchup dive. Today I've got Piotr Głogowski, also known as Canister. He's a streamer and professional Magic player, and he's got this four-color Yorion Flicker deck that he's going to be playing against me today. So what where did you first hear about this deck? What made you decide to start playing this deck?
Well, it picked up a few top 8s and Magic Online challenges before I picked it up, but then I started playing with it, working on it, and it turned out to be quite a solid deck. Probably, I think right now it's a more solid versions of what Elementals was, which was a deck I was powering a lot of time at the time.
Yeah, I mean, Elementals is a very strong deck, but one thing I found against Elementals is if you don't have Risen Reef, it's a much weaker deck, and I feel like this is a deck that just every card in the deck is doing something powerful, and you always seem to be doing something powerful with this deck. I also think there's like a combo potential of like, obviously the Time Warp Infinite Turns thing, which makes it like a little bit trickier to play from the Amulet side of things, because it's harder, like against Elementals, I can play more conservatively because sometimes I don't expect that I'm just going to lose on the next turn. But, sometimes against this deck, just out of nowhere, I can just lose.
Certainly the Time Warp combo or like any other combo that you could include in this. It's mostly Time Warp, but you could do some other stuff like maybe playing Nahiri plus Emrakul. That's not really, you're gonna see this one coming, but certainly there is some
Yeah.
more combo potential to that is pretty scary to play a longer game against.
Yeah.
Especially as the Amulet is like not the best at maybe stopping the other players' game plan, and you kinda can cycle a lot, draw a lot of cards, find the stuff.
Right. And, like you have the ability to stop me from killing you pretty well with Solitude, which you can bounce with the fairies. You can ephemerate. You can use Eternal Witness to get them back. So there's a lot of ability to answer Primeval Titans within this deck. So I'm going into this assuming that Amulet is probably not favored in this matchup. I felt favored with the Karn version against Elementals, and that was mostly due to Walking Ballista. Today, I'm not playing a Karn version. I'm playing the tracker version. And so without access to Walking Ballista, which is like my main way of interacting with sort of these creature combos, ephemerate, and everything, I think there's a very good chance that a lot of matches are going to come down to you're going to solitude a lot of my Primeval Titans until you are able to just either assemble a combo or get so much value that I can't come back. I do think that there are some opportunities though for Amulet to get under you. Obviously, Amulet can do some very fast draws, and you're playing an 80 card deck, so the things that are best like Solitude and Spreading Seas, while you do have a lot of cantrips, you're not always going to have them right when you need them. So there is some opportunity for me to just go really fast.
For sure, that is my feeling about the matchup as well. I had plenty of games I played against Amulet so far with this deck go in this way, where I eventually just exiled all 4 Titans and there was nothing threatening left in the deck. So by default I won. But the Amulet as its scariest for this deck is when it goes fast. the Amulet, the multi-Amulet openings. If you like miss a Prismatic Ending on the Amulet or miss a Spreading Seas on Urza's Saga, then just getting out too quickly before I can find all the cards I need in my 80 card deck. That is a problem.
Yeah, Prismatic Ending is very, very good though at when you do have it at preventing those really quick amulet draws as well.
Yeah,
Now
it's one of the key cards I'm looking for in my opening hand typically against Amulet, which is kind of not what I suspected at first, because I was like, oh yeah, it only hits the Amulet, so like kind of crappy. But that's not even true. You can play it for free, kill the Dryad, kill the Tracker in your version's case. But just having the insurance that the game is going to go longer, it's not gonna finish that fast, is very good in itself for my deck. So I'm looking for that effect.
Yeah, I mean, even just the presence of Prismatic Ending has changed the way that Amulet has to sequence things. Like, often before, when you had a Grazer and an Amulet in hand, you always wanted to play the Amulet first in case you drew like a second Amulet, then that would be very good with the Grazer. But now our Boreal Grazer usually has to go first against anything with white mana, because otherwise you can end up in situations where your Amulet just gets exiled and you don't really have much going on. There's also a lot more of just holding on to amulets until turns when you actually want to combo, which, I mean, can be the right play depending on the situation, but also just having to do that can sometimes just make the sequencing a little weird or bad or slower. So even if you don't have the ending, just the threat of ending can sometimes slow me down a little bit.
Yeah. I wanted to mention that because that was one play that I felt like was not happening from my opponent's side in the leagues and the challenges enough. Because it seemed like every single time they had the amulets in their opening hand or close to it, they would just play it out and it was just sitting there. But, probably the most scary sequence that can occur is playing a Urza's Saga, have it survive, and then you search an amulet, you play your second amulet, which you held onto, and then you can go off from there.
Yeah, especially if, with second amulet, it takes 9 mana to make 2 Primeval Titans with a Talaria West, which, unless you have something like Solitude plus Ephemerate, can either kill you or accrue so much value that it's just hard to come back. Now, in the sideboard, I'm seeing you have some pretty good tools for this matchup. Now it's 80 card deck, so sideboards you will see slightly less, but I'm seeing Alpine Moon. I don't know if you're looking at Chalice of the Void or Engineered Explosives for this matchup, but I think both potentially have applications. But you also, I mean, other than Lightning Bolt, a lot of the cards in your main deck are also quite good in the matchup. So I'm curious as what your thoughts are on the sideboarding.
I was never thinking much about Engineered Explosives as a tool versus Amulet, but I guess I could.
He's a phenomenal
use it.
control player.
Chalice of the Void, I do find it to be pretty good to have, but I try not to sideboard more than 2 typically, because throwing 2 is dead, so I try to not do that. Alpine Moon is obviously great because it's kind of doubles the work of Spreading Seas, but it's not like Spreading Seas goes there. It still can work as a land destruction on a bounce line, so it's gonna be fine. So Verdict is very good. Obviously, well, so maybe not very good. It is quite good. It's useful to have, but it's not insane because it is a sorcerer speed removal after all. I've been toying with sideboarding in Emrakul too, but I don't have a strong opinion formed on that.
Yeah, I mean, Emrakul is definitely one that if you cast it against Amulet, you just win the game. because Amulet has a lot of ways to self-destruct and things like packs and other things. You can either, not pay for any packs that I've got set up. You can play a bunch of packs. It's really a hard card for me to answer in any sense. So, I mean, it's something that if you cast, you basically win the game. I guess the question is, I don't have a good sense about how easy it is for you to cast within this deck. Omnith makes a lot of mana. I don't know how many card types you typically find with yourself in the graveyard.
Probably between like 8 and 9 mana, so it's probably a case of a card being good in the late game in the matchup where I'm already mostly should be trying to get to the late game rather than to improve my late game.
Yeah, that makes sense. So on the from the Amulet side of the matchup, also, by the way, I'm having a little bit of audio something. It sounds like you might be fading in and out a little. I don't know what's going there. It just kind of gets like louder and softer sometimes as you're talking.
Is this still persisting? Let me check the settings. Automatically adjust microphone volume. Okay, let's check that out. What about now?
I think that's better.
Yeah. Okay, good. Because my channel was also saying stuff, but yeah, it seems like unchecking that box helped.
Okay. So on the Amulet side of things, I'm playing this tracker Amulet list. This is the one I've gotten most of my trophies with recently. So I think this is maybe a matchup where tracker isn't at its strongest, and I would maybe like something like Karn to be able to get Walking Ballista. But it is always good to have a backup threat, and if tracker doesn't get answered, it can draw me a lot of cards. The real advantage of tracker is to have more sideboard cards, but I don't really think this is a matchup where I'm looking to be sideboarding really anything. I mean, the only card that I would look at is Dismember, I suppose. Maybe over, Engineered Explosives. I'm not expecting that the Graveyard Hate is particularly great in this matchup, though maybe you have another opinion on that. But I'm thinking for the most part, I just am wanting to leave my main game plan intact and maybe bring in Dismembers to just disrupt any ephemerate things. But I don't know if you have any other thoughts on what the Amulet player should be doing.
From my side, I was definitely a bit surprised by the effectiveness of both Dismember and Bog. It's not like they're insane, but they can do significant damage.
Yeah.
Frequently, I'm kind of banking on this Solitude Ephemerate play working out in tight spots to then stabilize and take over. And a timely Dismember there hits pretty hard. Bojuka Bog also kind of valuable because Amulet is kind of weak to the Eternal Witness loops. If you just can start the Ephemerate Eternal Witness plays and there's little ways to stop that from Amulet, then you can just freely pick up a Solitude every turn, and I don't really see what from that point you'd be supposed to do about that. So Bojuka Bog interfering with that from a Titan, search by a Titan came up a few times when I was playing against that.
Yeah, I think Bojuka Bog makes sense as if I'm gonna bring in Graveyard Hate, Bojuka Bog being a land as something like a Cavern of Souls that isn't doing anything makes sense to as if I'm going to bring in Graveyard Hate, Bojuka Bog is probably the one that makes the most sense to bring in.
Certain Tormod script I would not be interested in. Railgo Progenitus would be, I think, pretty interesting.
Yeah, relic would probably be fine. I don't think I want to do endurance because I don't really want to be spending 2 cards to exile your graveyard. I'm certainly not going to be pacting for it and then exiling a card to exile your graveyard. That just seems like
That
at the
doesn't
point
seem
when
like a winning strategy.
yeah. I mean, by that point in a game, by a point in a game when I'm doing that, I'm just losing. Yeah. All right. So I think I'm ready to go if you want to get started with the games.
Yes, we can do that.
All right.
So
Do you want to send me the challenge or should I send you the challenge?
you can send me the challenge.
All right, and I'm just
yeah, leaving the voice call for now.
okay.
All right, chat. We're gonna be playing 3 matches. Can you hear me? Yes, you can hear me. That's good. We're playing 3 matches against Nicholas of Folklore versus Amulet. And then after that, we're gonna discuss it more with our takeaways from what has happened during those matches. Folklore, Witness, Joiner, and Pile. That's this one. What does he think of Ren and 7? Oh, an Amulet. What does Nicholas think? We can ask him later, I guess. Because I didn't understand your question. Right now, hand's pretty great. Sold the Ephemerate and Witness to pick stuff up. Well, certainly gonna keep that. Oh, this is also the challenge. They're like one-on-one person challenge, so we've got 40-minute clocks, so it'd be pretty funny to run a 40-minute clock down. Would be pretty impressive. Yeah, if we draw this, I'm going to just aim to excel the Titans. I love how this hand is both slow and quick. Yeah, well said. You play as if you do not know the matchup. I cannot rid of myself that knowledge. I think we can put the music, the song requests there quietly when we're not discussing. I didn't want the song request to be there for the discussion part, but obviously there's no harm in playing a bit Yachimuchi right now. The mic still has some audio problems to you. Is anyone else? Everyone else said it was fixed.
Hi, this is Arnold.
I'm gonna play a Stomping Ground. Maybe I should play the screen settings to get under wide. You know, the problem with the music is that I kept the VOD audio.
Come on, more energy. Down, up, down, up, down. Come on, one more time.
The problem is that if I do this, then the audio is gonna be muted in the VOD from this part. Seems to only be happening when you cover your mouth or sit back away from the mic, I think. Damn. Right, let's try sitting this way. Spreading seas is a welcome draw. You're gonna spread those seas to Saga. Right? Yeah, right. So yeah, I guess the problem is that the music is gonna be... We can maybe put some... I don't know, everything ends up being copyrighted even if it's not supposedly copyrighted. kill mob? I don't think I should. Though I could. Might be time to fire a Solitude Ephemerate, but honestly... Well, I would like to get rid of the Dryad anyways. We can Witness pick up the Ephemerate and then we can have a season play. Yeah, I think that looks good to me. Yeah, Vita is a pitch card. It's my main deck card. Hello Kaneki, would I like to guess which character I lost my 50-50 pool for Hu Tao to? Was it Chi-Chi? I'm not even sure if killing the Grazer is more important than... Well, I need the Ephemerate in my graveyard, so I need to blink. I drew another Ephemerate, but... Can still do that, play Witness. It's on 2 cards, you're gonna pick up the Ephemerate again. I'm going to have 2 Ephemerates with Salt and Witness in play, which is going to be pretty hard to overcome. Can ditch Omnath to Solitude. Oh yeah, I could have picked up the fetch and got under the white sword. Yeah, you're right. Could have just had the Ephemerate in play. Because like picking up the fetch is free because I can then Ephemerate the Witness, obviously. It's kind of wasteful. Since I drew the second Ephemerate. Yeah. Yep. Balak on the Molten Pineapple. Very interesting land. It's actually not even good to cast Iteration, I think. Because we know that he has no interaction, so I should be just witnessing back the lands every turn, and I think it's like really... he's locked. No way of escaping. All escaping. Why is the matchup with Amulet important? Oh. PuntThenWhine is an Amulet gamer, a trophy leader currently. Some decent amount of experience. It's not particularly super important, but it is a matchup that we're going to get some discussion on right now. Yeah. Yes, it is interesting, and I think, you know, playing against someone who's not he's, you know, better than random, potentially. More invested into a deck than a random opponent. Can give you a good insight. So now we fear the Wooded Foothills, I guess. It's gonna take a while till kill, I guess, but what we can do is we can pick up Seas and seize the foothills. Also pick up a land. I'm not sure if I want to. Because it feels safer just having an ephemerate in hand, an extra one. Okay, we drew a land. Can't fetch a white source with that. Rhino versus no Rhino grudge match with Doomwake when? Yeah, I was thinking about messaging him. If like people end up liking this stream or something. I don't know, maybe even with gifted subs on the line. Something like that. Oh no, my cease is gone. It ceased to exist. Alright, dry up the Elysian Grove. So he's gonna play land, choose his targets. I'm going to do the fetch land. He's not going to be able to play a Primeval Titan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm mistaken. He will be able to play Primeval Titan, but that's not a problem. I don't think we'll ever need enough this game. We just need to make the witness survive. Which we do through a fetch land. Assaulted from hand, then you're gonna ephemerate. Ephemerate the witness. So you're gonna have 2 ephemerates in hand for the assaulted. Because I assume the play is gonna be like fetch land, target, be ready to fetch. Which I'm going to respond with the assaulted from hand. Some respect. Wait, did he play a land this turn? He did play a land this turn, which is a little bit weird. Oh, okay, so if I kill now, then he would grab another Dryad of the Elysian Grove and then play the fetch land. Oh, that's kind of a decent play because... See, this is a problem here. The problem is that there's gonna be a second Dryad fetch if I interact with the first one. Play the Dryad. Target. And ephemerate response. Yeah, that's pretty good. Next level of Premier, it should be great to see opponent's gameplay in a video, for example. Yeah, Nicholas is recording his side and he's gonna post it on YouTube. Oh, so it's gonna be available and certainly I'm gonna link that somewhere. So this is a pretty tough spot. If I do kill a Dryad, he can play under Dryad and... does kill a Dryad, then... I mean, assuming he gets a Dryad of this anyways, right? So... I think, because it's more about the Dryads and the Titans right now. And activity time remaining 3 minutes, damn. Getting kicked hard with those time limits. So, if I salted... No, I should ephemerate now, because ephemerate is gonna be vulnerable. No, it is fine. You can't find anything that's problematic, right? Because the second Dryad I can exile Pilot 2, right? So he's gonna play a fetch land now. Oh. Yeah, I'll always be losing my creatures. That seems to be a tiny bit of a problem. My Eternal Witness loops are gonna be broken. So to use the Ephemerate, I think we should do it now. Otherwise, it's gonna be countered by the Valakut. Kinda going to be out of stuff. I'm gonna be needing to use my iterations to find something. We put Soul to it, bounce Eternal Witness. Is that better? We probably didn't have Soul in hand. No. There's a fetch land coming. We knew about the fetch land, so unfortunately, it is problematic. My creatures are gonna die, my ephemerates are gonna die. He's gonna play Titan on the next turn potentially. I think he could have salted with the fetch ability on the stack. Well, this is not gonna. He's gonna let those resolve first, right? Concede from the game? What? I think that was a bit preemptive. Okay, I thought I had one more ephemerate in hand, but I in fact spent one on my turn. Alright, well, that was maybe not the best for this situation, I guess, but we'll take it. Focal is the better deck of the matchup, seems like. Default sideboarding is to bring like those 5, and I don't want Dovin's Vetoes and Lightning Bolts. Yes, Trackers, Furies, I think are fine. Also kill Dryad, the ball just kills kind of very little. Like after that I don't have cards that are terrible. Arguably the Fairy is not that great, but... He was empty hand versus Omnath 2 iteration, potentially, but you know, he had one card in hand, which could have been a Titan, and then a Titan next turn would be potentially problematic for me if I hadn't found an answer. The Fairy is like pit type, it's bad, it's still pretty damn good. Yeah. Again, like the protection from those dismembers at inopportune times are pretty welcome. I'll mulligan this. Oh, this is a medium minus versus Amulet on the draw. But a medium minus I feel priced into keeping. This is one of those hands where it could just go over me. It can go very wrong unless I'll draw very well, so. Well, land is useless with Ren in hand. But it seems like a pretty slower hand, so expecting a Dryad on the next turn. Maybe an Azusa. Azusa actually better because bouncing a Dryad is effective. Except for Castle being involved. And I mean that bouncing a Dryad makes it effective. Is something around? I don't know. If you bounce a Dryad, then it's gonna only be at 5 mana, so no Titan replay. Good morning everyone, good morning Greedy. As Azusa is more problematic because Azusa makes enough mana, but Dryad is... Free lands is not spooky whatsoever. That is good. I think we value having good mana, so I'll fetch a Allowed Fountain. I'll do the bounce. The Dryads. Did I win yesterday at my LGS? No, I did not. Solitude is a really great draw. We have a Varentu that's gonna emblem sometime soon, so that's very nice. I did not win yesterday at the LGS. In fact, I accidentally played this deck with no prismatic endings in it because a week ago I took them out into my Lantern deck. Then I picked this deck up and I was like, okay, I have 4 FT slots. What did I miss? And I just put some Ice Fangs in there and made again endurances, etc. Until first round of the tournament, I play against Hardened Scales and opponent has Ozoli with 13 counters on it, and I'm like, damn, it would be nice to finally draw a prismatic ending. And then during sideboarding for the game 3, I looked through my deck closely and I was like, damn, I see what was missing in this deck, what's missing from there. So that's pretty funny. How to play this exactly? I think we got two ways. We have Instant Speed Supreme Verdict. Assaulted Ephemerate. Place a creature first and I will just Verdict. Verdict now? I don't really want to because of the Dryad. I'll let him move to combat. He's gonna make another clue, it's fine though, because I don't want to... I don't want to let the Dryad do stuff. The Dryad kills my Planeswalkers. Well, I want my Ren to emblem though. Maybe grabbing Yorion was a good idea. I think I do have to let them connect though. I can't really afford to spend it in effect now. I really want to... No lands, huh? I think we'll Verdict. True, Tracker of the Trigger is kinda helpful for me. I think we're gonna be chilling. That's a reason to spend my manas. Should be pretty comfortable to... Hardcasting a Solitude is kinda good, but it's kinda not great either. I think it's overall good though. Bounce it with the... Like we have 3 Ephemerates up. Bounce it with the Teferi. I don't want to lose my Teferi, but... Oh, perfect. +1 life gain play. Yeah, could instant speed iteration. It's not that great because you can't play the card if it's not a sorcery or an instant. There's many of those. Seems like it's not very hard to lock them out of the game. Yeah, their biggest strength is in the early game. Acting here means that we can fetch and Valakut. Fetch is scary, but pacting here means that we could even force the pact payment. I guess if we fetch, if we were to draw Seas. Yeah, double amulet draws are the strongest, as I said. I exile this, after which I'm going to awkwardly draw last. More white up. You don't need this ephemerate. We have two other ones. What's the best course of action? Probably is still plussing Teferi. Yeah, plussing my planeswalkers and chilling is the best course of action. Now we are also holding a prismatic ending to kill the thing. Minus Ferinsolder is brutal too. Yeah, it's certainly something I'm considering, but I think I would iterate end of turn. I don't care about the quantity of cards. Time warp is, I guess, what we would be looking for. Well, the game is quite over, but it's still something that you have to be considerate of the Dryads. And bottom Exila. Cycle. Missed up, I guess. You can iterate again. It's only one fetch in play. There could be two fetches in play potentially, but we're looking for hand bottom Exila. Don't you want the land exile instead of losing the dude? No, I would rather have the land in my deck because I can fetch the land, while the dude on the bottom of my deck has no relevance towards the state of the game. I believe, at least. So Dryad into a fetch would force me to play a few cards. To answer the layers. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. Okay, not a fetch, just say land, so. Ogres have layers. Onions have layers. So let's lead on ephemerating this. No, let's lead on... Well, let's lead on ephemerating. Yeah. We do have Flash Prismatic too, obviously. So we have that covered in a way. Can clean both dryads now, I guess. Even under Dryad cannot play land now because the land was already played, and as a concession for my opponent, it seems, I would say it's rightfully earned this time because the grip was kind of tight and hard to escape. So yeah, we were going to play 3 matches. I guess I can put that on the screen somewhere. If you don't draw any salt in this matchup, then it's a bit problematic. I did draw the salt, it's like, as you see, my opening hand was kind of spooky. I'll have to mulligan this. I don't know what to put in the matchup score. Idols. Yeah, those hands are kind of spooky, but I think I'll keep this because it feels like I ought to. I put back the Fury. I think with Grixis being heavily played now, need more 1-card removal or hate. Grixis? What kind of Grixis? It's being heavily played. Damn, turn 1. Insane. The 3 cards in hand though, and I have the Seize to seize the opportunity. First breach, of course. Yeah, of course, obviously. How could I have missed that? Cory's list. You'll have to link me that because honestly, I don't know about it being played heavily. So yeah, let's spread some C's. 1-1 construct is manageable. Do the stress down shadow. Is that heavily played? They mixed up heavily with Harley. No, this won the tournament, but... Oh, I mean Cory SCG, yeah. I don't think it's like heavily played, it's played.com. They probably cantripping this turn. Could grab Yorion, could cast a massive iteration. I'm probably not one to cast Yorion. Iteration can miss. Although it's pretty nice to unload one, although keeping one for the creature seems pretty relevant. So I think I'll keep both, because then I can cast one on the next turn where it's gonna be better. Because we're gonna be able to cast 2 drops. Drumland. Gonna get a harvest. Impressive. Yeah, name non-land again. Okay, I'll say white card for Solitude if push comes to shove, but I don't think there will be any shoving happening soon.
He's a phenomenal control player.
So yeah, what was the effect? Thank you very much, Hyperinton. 493 sub points. 7 more for the Kaiba. So do I think with Grixis being heavily played now we need more one card removal or hate? I don't think the Grixis is a bad matchup. I don't think it doesn't seem to me like it should be. So I wouldn't be heavily concerned about that. There's no way my opponent casts anything meaningful. Next turn I can kill a Teferi, but I'll play Teferi to remove the threat and chill out. I miss my white card, which is bad, I guess. But having less bots is, I guess, kind of okay against them. Human. Then Azusa cast. It is a human indeed. Followed up with no lands. Ah, interesting. I can keep the time warp. If nothing important happens on that turn, I can take 2 turns. Yeah, instant speed time warp is pretty good sometimes. Humans, I assume a tierless tracker. Okay. It's gonna take time warp. Just 1 land. 2 lands. Yeah, he held up lands for the tracker. He's smart. But I'll let the trackers make the clues and I'll just take the... Actually, if the Azusa attacks, we can play Solitude, consume the tireless tracker. Like time warping. And not we're gonna time warp right now. We have 2 turns, play the Fury on tracker. Fury trading for a Titan is pretty good too. I mean, I could hardcast the Fury, but honestly, is it better than spending the iterations on digging? Because if I iterate into Time Warp, I can take another turn. If I iterate into Jomna, I can probably play it too. I mean, Vita or maybe not the best. Can iterate this turn again. Spend the Prismatic. Next turn we can either hardcast Fury or cast Iterate. Well, if we cast Iteration, then we won't be able to. I think I'll prismatically end the tireless tracker. It's the most cumbersome of the removals. Play the fetch. Lovely fetch. Hero green. Tap. Duro. Holding up a Vita is not blank, so mean, they're not the super greatest spot if he just plays Titan. I guess I no longer really want to play the Fury, yeah? Yeah, that is pretty true. Okay, the Fury 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Need to play land to haste. Can't iterate that greatly anymore because I can't iterate onto Witness Ephemerate now. Can Ephemerate do Omnath? Play the Fury, kill the Azusa. I think it's iteration time still. And bottom exile. Just need to survive. Pick the time warp, I think. I think for the most part I should survive with Solitude. We have the Ferry, Sit Witness, Time Warp, that can go quite long. Take quite a few extra turns, progress through more cards in my deck. It's not really Solitude Veto up, because I need Veto for the Solitude, but cracking the clue here is a good sign for me. Summer's Pact. I would rather have my opponent spend mana. Yeah, Dryad of the Lycian. Gage much scarier than. They fetch? No, they fetch. Stop trying to make fetch happen. Playing Lesson deck's not good in leagues. How much did you play at first? You don't actually want to iterate? I kinda doubt it. Pretty sure I don't want to.
Control player.
Let's do a pack to pay for. You got this. Witness. They're still in game 1. You got a Time Warp plus Teferi on top. Just looking for an Ephemerate, I guess. And bottom exile, Time Warp myself. Plus Teferi, play this, fetch. That's the events. Hit the Valakuts. I guess we can hit the green stars. If we find that a cease this way, we can actually just scale which we do. We have the onboard kill against the Pact. Pretty funny. Pick up the other Cs, and my opponent will cease to exist. Because they don't have enough to pay for the Pact, so that's pretty convenient. Probably picking up the Time Warp would have gotten me there anyways, because I would have bounced the... bounced yeah, Witness, and I would have found the Ephemerate. Alright, we're gonna sideboard in the same way. I think... I don't know, chat, do you think I should have the Emrakul on the deck over a Tefari? Really think so, because it doesn't pitch. That's like kind of a bad thing about it, and like the Time Warp goes over my point well enough, and they have no way to stop the Time Warp, no counter magic. Oops, out. Well then go. You like came here yourself, and then you like throw yourself out of the room. Weird behavior, but it's 1-0 in the game, and this is the second match, which I won 2-0. It's kind of bad on the draw. Those sends are like terrifying to keep against Amulet. Just like snap keeps 7. What do you think? I think a disciplined Mulligan would be to Mulligan this. It's a great hand against everyone else probably. It's not better. It's even worse. I think a mood is harder. We have to draw a land anyway, so I guess I'll put back the mountain. Keep the triple. I think I'm keeping this over multi 4. I just need to find a green source, so kind of sketch. Not the worst, I guess. Could have been worse, but basic lands reading their heads where they are needed the most. Typical. Fetches in graveyard, red and 6 draw. Kabog also shining. Seems like my opponent's draw is kinda not very powerful either. Let's expect the Tireless Dragon on the next turn though. Next time I fetch, which is good. Okay, now this game actually looks okay. Like I have kind of all I need. I Planeswalker to pull ahead and sell to the Ephemerate to not die. Okay, that wasn't the Tailless tracker. Ride of the Illusion. When playing this artifact called Amulet of Vigor. Yeah, I guess they kinda are, but Castle doesn't work now. So I haven't picked up Yorion single time. I actually think I would rather hard Castle too, because I don't want to spend my... I don't really need to play the Ren, and I don't want to spend my Second Effeminate to like... No, I really don't want to pitch. Yeah, the Vigor. Prismatic Ending is gone. Whoops. I see. I was looking to draw the bounce land, seems like. For so that the matchup goes from bad to good. It certainly influences the matchup plenty. It's largely about that. It seems like a giant creature spell is going to enter. The stack. One of the last second players I faced killed me with 4 Hydrate Crasses. Yeah, I've seen that somewhere. Hydrate Crasses is the solution to all the problems that Amulet could have. Chat, also, is the audio on my mic still a bit wonky or not? Mic sounds good, okay. Does it still go bad when I back off from the mic like this? Is there that much focal isn't being multiple Hydrate Crassuses? Crassi. I don't know. Probably whatever you wanted to. Whoa. Crassus. Sus. Guys, you can one best to Haste Titans, yeah. Give me potentially rough spot afterwards though. I wish I picked up Yorion now to excel the Yorion. I guess it's gonna be 3 Haste Titans, so that's gonna be a problem. Because all 3 are gonna get hasty with Vesuva. There's the Boros mana Plotting, it's pretty nice line. You can exile 2 Titans, get hit by 1. How many packs to play are there? It's 3 packs, right? Can you pay for 3 packs? Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of paying though. Could have let my point gain 2 less life. That was a slight misplay on my part, I guess. But it's not really, it's really not important though. Well, the thing is that I have 15 life, right? So the Fair Titan attacks, but the Sunhome is in hand, Vesuva is not available. So both Vesuva and Sunhome are in hand, so it's actually not a problem. I'm not gonna die this turn. So you're gonna be able to Blink, Solitude, exile the Fair Titan. Goddamn, this mode works for everything. It doesn't really work for Weep songs though that well. Cannon bricks. I guess afraid of seas. When Titan had to actually leave Titan combat damage, those were easier days. Well, true old school people remember when Titan had to had the hive mind to kill you. Those good times. I mean, I feel like I'm in a rough spot because the next Titan's gonna be rough. Raz, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you have 7 sources. Certainly, Titan is uncomfortably weak to Soul to the Ephemerate. I don't think spending CC is effective, right? Because has to pay 12. You can bounce back the C's card. I feel like nowadays you die to Valakut 99% of the time, so it depends on the deck, but yeah, certainly Valakut is a big part. And when Titan players had to play on Spells Guide, damn, I actually don't. Spells Guide? 5 life, we're going to... I'm gonna say welcome draw. It's free, so... The attack for lifelink getting in there for sure, and I think bounce the Slayer Strangle, but there's a T-West in hand. T-West. Zuba in hand, so it can just Bezuba that. That's a great draw. It's an insane draw. Potentially lifesaver. Making him spend the land drop on this is also still somewhat valuable, at least. Should I play the Omna, the Yorion to draw cards? Honestly, probably. I'm going to get the cards in right now. The Chalice does a good job making kinda likely that next turn I'm not gonna be dying. It seems Panzergy is to take it slow and accumulate kind of critical mass before casting Titans against Solitude. Yeah, he kept the 2 amulets in his hand and he was just looking for a bounce land this entire game. I think he was failing to draw the bounce lands. But also had to play triple pact. I guess Chance is not that good of a draw, but it is a good draw. There is still a TOS in his hand and a pact in his deck, so it blanks that. Kinda like, given that he triple pacted, he would just play the Titans, non-pacted Titans from his hand. It's also a move to 5 for you, it was, yeah. Remember when people used Monkey to cast Amulet and Mouse and to Standard Bloom to Hive Mind Pact, those were better days. See, the one person that actually did that was a cheater though, like, who used to palm this opening 7. Which is kinda not cool. And like nobody else was playing the monkey. He had like played one monkey and just used to do that. Do the amulets matter anymore? They don't seem to matter. I see already. Don't cast a witness right now though. I have bad news for you. Fortunately for Amulet, those focal decks are not a popular matchup. Well, they're not that popular on Mono. I like it when Durset says, bro, I have bad news for you, because then you know the news is bad. Me? Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe I should have just put Salted back into my hand. I guess I can still do that. Yeah, let's do that. There's a white card to pitch. We can seize the Sun Home, which matters a little bit. They in our blog's Facebook group, someone posted it again. They have heard someone pulling on shaking the doorknobs during the day. Hope, but they will shake our doorknob. Explosives, cast 0 colors, damn. It opens the pact, but so even Vala couldn't play, so I don't think there's much to be fearing. You're having door knobs when you can have door pros. Extremely funny. I'll spell this way even, and then fetch Vala cute. And pass, that is it. Bad news for you, PuntThenWhine. I think I'll win. Drain Urza's Sega style. This would name Valaku, this would kill a Titan, so there would be no avenues to victory. Let's read their name as PuntThenWhine. Damn. No, it's PuntThenWhine. Okay, so we are 2-0 in matches. Let's play the third match.
He's a phenomenal control player.
Hello, Mr. Streamer. Amulet this time for sure?
Well, we're trying to determine that. Also, Moniz, and thank you for the sub, but I'm 2-0 in the matches, and honestly, that game was quite depressing for the Amulet side, the way it went. I do have to mulligan against Amulet. I do have to, possibly mulligan quite a bit. Like, I think this is not gonna be a keep against Amulet. I could keep this in the middle, etc. Solitudes and Spreading Seas. So what else would I want, right? I put back the John. It's the most expensive card. Interesting, but I think I want to get a Tryon. Tryon casts Ren the next turn, no issues. That's the Seas, and we know if you want to even name a land. If we draw a Fairland, we don't. We want to name a spell. So yeah, since we don't really know what we want to name with it for sure, and depends on my next draw. Let's wait. Forest. Those things are either the least or the most scary, because you could be just sitting on triple Amulet waiting for the bounce land to be released, and then I'm like, name land because we need mana. Bad land. Kind of in a rough spot, I guess you just place it right. What I'm supposed to do. What's a poor guy like me supposed to do? Your mic is fucked again, my dude. Transfer us. Mic test. Because I connected with Nicolas through through Zoom, and like there is suppress background nice options, and I can't choose none. Honestly, I think what I'll do is I'm going to seize this. Oh, that's a good draw. You can Fury this, so there's no Titan on the next turn. I think the Triumph needs to be played. Sounds fine to me, so I don't know, I have no idea why some people have probably some don't. I've seen a list with 1 back Triumph and bring to light Valky, even if BTS is probably bad. The interesting thing was 4 Unmolded Ego and 95. 4? Yeah, P. Gonti is proposing that to me some other day. Honestly, it might be worth trying, because like some matches on Unmolded Ego just seems like the base thing to do. Base possible thing. Alright, this is gonna be sketch, but I think I'm going to Solitude and Witness back the Solitude. Also masterful tapping on my part, by the way, but can you ego a Tron land, or is that not allowed? You can. Ego kinda would want me to play a Utopia's Pro. Fortunately, Titan unpacked that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Place a land has 9 mana after Cease 2. And I have 2 teas. That's fine, I'll drink them both. Cease is not high value. We can pick up Yorion. That means that next turn if we draw a land we can during the Witness pick up the Solitude. That sounds the wisest to me. Because well, we need to draw a land and a white card in one draw step, so I guess I didn't account for that being impossible. Is Amulet the best deck now? I'm 2-0 in this match, so you know I'm 2 matches ahead. We're playing 3 matches, the third match we're playing, so it is possible that I'll be losing this game 1, but the best as of Amulet is very arguable. So why is Zero not anymore? What happened to Zero? Wait, timeout? Modern is in a good place now. I don't think it's the best deck. I agree. Okay, that is actually a way. We draw a fetch off of this and then we draw a white card and we pick up a Solitude off of that. But we are between a rock and a hard place. King Ghidra, thank you for the fetch. Oh no. Alright, Titan can hit me. It's the same amulet. Same amulet, less free matches. Yeah, he's gonna get the Dryad now. Summer's Pact, the Dryad. That gets 2 Valakuts on the attack, which is 6, 12. Then there's also the land to be played. 2 lands to be played. I don't think he played a land yet, right?
The pepperoni! Pepperoni! You know the pepperoni!
Shucks, the pepperoni came so out of nowhere. I forgot that I had installed this function on the stream. It's just, what? Where's this coming from? I had no idea what was the source of this. Oh, so yeah, 2 lands gonna kill me. Yep. Died. The pepperoni! Oh no, the pepperoni! No one! Let's go with my usual plan. Yes. Let's bring the amulet for value. The miracle, I said amulet. Let's do it over the Fury. I don't think Fury is that great to draw in multiple sides. I guess if you draw the multiples, you can pitch one to the other, so I guess it's actually good in multiples, but you get the idea. Mind slaving them and not paying for pack, yeah, that's pretty good. Right, on that play. This I'll keep, but I think I will... Ah. If he leads on a saga, it's good for me. I don't think I'll play it. I want to keep the Triumph in my hand. It is a sketch, but I think I'll keep it. Fetch before my draw step.
Fucking slaves, get your ass back here!
Slaves. This head looks so junky. It is, I guess it is. What is Punt's list? It's the tireless tracker list. It's the one he is playing lately. I assume. Interesting. Let's fetch blue. Or white, I don't know. Very white. Does he mostly play Titan? I think all of his trophies are like solely with Titan. Or like one of them is with something else. It's gonna be naming Valakud after all. Base Titan Straggler. I don't know what is struggling necessarily, but Eternal Witness. Oh, we have Witness Ephemeral Time Warp, so you're gonna win if we're not gonna die. For the most part. Ooh, sure. Name Volacute. For Titan is unplayable. I don't think it's unplayable, but I don't think it's very good. Volacute, the Molten Pineapple. Pick up. Fetch last basic, and next turn play fully colored Breeding Pool, finally. Reflecting Pool. Oh, maybe I was supposed to play the Reflecting Pool, play the Witness just for the sake of having Witness in play. Did they mess up? Might have messed up. Okay, Gravity Titan with Summer's Pact. Yeah, play Witness was good because that meant I was winning on the next turn, like save for Dismember or something. Now I'm not going to be just winning. It's just worse than winning. So I'm sorry for making a mistake. Yeah, also plug and combo of Ren. Yeah. That was so bad. I had to fetch a Dragon Triumph, so I'm sorry. As Valakud is disabled, I'm not really worried about much happening though. Yeah, witness now for sure. I'm not planning on holding her anymore. Keep the ephemerate for protection. No need to spend my cyclers. I think I can't really die. There's no amulet in play, and there is. There's no amulet in play, and there is Valakut is dead. The next turn we go the time warp ephemerate. Can get interrupted by dismember, but it's overall. I think it's gonna be also hitting on enough angles that it's gonna be good. Blood is on 2 to deal with my Rand, sure. Something I can brawl with. Honestly, not impressed by that play. Let's see backup if things go wrong. Okay, that's the loop, uninterrupted, and we get there. You could hire someone to shuffle your deck at HEP. What would you pay per match? I would pay minimum wage. Per match. I mean, I would have to pay enough to want to make sure that they're motivated enough to shuffle my deck thoroughly, because if somebody would half-ass it, then and you just ask a judge to shuffle. I know you once could. Yeah, but like the judge is not paid by you, so like the degree of confidence in judge's thoroughness of the shuffling, I do not trust them. That they'll just like shuffle but poorly. You have an answer to an early amulet. You have the timer we are praying. I think I'll keep this, but it can go sketch. Move us to 5, okay. Shuffle machine. Are there shuffle machines that work with sleeves? What are you gonna do? Call a judge and the judge? Yes. Play and sleeves support your shuffle machine. Fair. Solitude is an extremely base draw, like first draw step Solitude, obviously. Do the machines destroy the cards? Are they, you know, specifically engineered to not destroy the cards and be extremely nice to your cards? Makes sense. Or are they're designed for playing cards which are plastic? Crumbling Vestige, that's broken. I didn't see Crumbling Vestige in this list earlier. Say a video where a shuffle machine ripped a card in half, no loss, but still, it's funny because card equals bad. Pick up Yorion as a white card to pitch. Why they work with sleeves? I don't know. It seems like you could probably engineer one that would work with sleeves. Just message Pan that he drew solo and he can move to the next game. Nah. Nah, we'll play it out. This is the last game, like, so it's not gonna be any more 4 games, it's the decider. Tierless tracker. Any land now. Good. Did you not play anything last time? So you like either kept the tracker or kept the land in hand? Probably not the land, so I assume the tracker was kept. It's an aggressive keep, I think. My paper deck also play those mismatched cards? Not always, sometimes. Don't have green. Pick all the witnesses. Alright. All 3 matches went in my favor. Alright, so what do you think?
I mean, yeah, so that went pretty much how I expected it to, maybe a little worse than I expected it to. I thought maybe I'd pick up like a few more games than that, but yeah, I mean, I knew this was bad going in, but I mean, and also I had a lot of bad hands. I think I mulliganed to 5 multiple times, and like, you know, we saw my last hand was just really, really terrible. But yeah, I mean, this is a rough matchup. I feel like this matchup just has all the tools it needs to answer what Amulet's doing. And I think the thing I learned about this from this experience is that I think the sideboard, and I don't think I want Dismember, because, you know, when you have Teferi, Dismember just does nothing. And having a card that's not one of my like cards that makes Amulet work is not where. But I think I like Engineered Explosives because I think Alpine Moon on Valakut can be important to answer, and I think Chalice of the Void can be important to answer. So I think in the end, I think my final conclusion on the sideboarding is I think I want to do like -1, like either -1 Saga or -1 Cavern of Souls, probably -1 Saga because you have so many answers, and +1 Engineered Explosives, and just -1 Saga +1 Engineered Explosives, and just try and leave everything intact. But yeah, I mean, I had bad hands, but still, even without that, this just seems like an abysmal matchup from the Amulet side of things.
Yeah, from my side, I would say that I definitely felt like I did not draw terribly. I found solitude in most of my draws, and like maybe even like all of them. There was that one game, like, you know, the one game where you held the 2 amulets to triple Titan on a single turn, just to lose, like right after that. That's like, I could see that being a little bit depressing from like the amulet side, because that's really not how you want to the games to go. You know, the premise is to play Primal Titan and then win, and then if that doesn't work, if you triple Primal Titan, then that's a bit problematic. Certainly, on my side, I also have to say that the matchup does require mulliganing hands that are good against, that are bad against Titan. Right? Specifically, for example, one of my hands was, I think it was Abundant Harvest, Ren, Eternal Witness, 4 lands on the draw. But knowing that I'm up against Titan, this is not a hand I can afford to keep. While against most decks, like if I've seen my opponent reveal like Lurus, I would say, yeah, sure, we can keep that. That's gonna be fine. Especially even on the play, I would be like kind of worried of drawing this, of keeping this against Amulet. So mulliganing a bit aggressively is needed. I'm also playing the Time Warps right now, which like come and go from the deck lists. I think right now they're good to play in 4-color, although not everyone agrees and some people are playing without them. I think they play a relevant role in the matchup. Like as you like many games finish with that Time Warp Witness or Time Warp Ren 6 combination. Like in one of the games you had to play Exploders on 2 to explode the Ren. It's overplaying a Titan. Like that alone like shows that it's a combination that needs to be respected in ways that you wouldn't want necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, if I knew that, you know, like there were other things like if Ren was gonna ultimate and it was just like gonna be like ephemerates and, you know, abundant harvests, and expressive iterations, I probably would be able to just play Titan there, and, you know, maybe at some point like a Bajuka Bog, you know, comes out and exiles things from the graveyard to kind of nerf the Ren ult. But yeah, with Time Warp in hand, I absolutely had to play the Engineered Explosives on 2, and at that point I knew I was losing regardless. Like I knew that was not a play that was getting me towards winning really, but like it was a play I had to make, because if I didn't, it was a forced play, because next turn you had infinite turns basically if I didn't do that. So it's or at least as many turns as you have land. So it was just, I'm just dead if I don't explosives on 2. Yeah, so I don't really know if there's anything I can do to improve this from the Amulet side of things, because right now I feel like Amulet is very well positioned against most of the fair decks of the format, because there's a lot of people who are trying to, you know, play blue and play Counterspell. And then I have the 2 caverns in the main deck and the 2 caverns in the sideboard. And so when you know, there can be matchups like Murktide, where I can just side out Sagas, side in, you know, Caverns and Bog to make their Blood Moons and Alpine Moons not really do anything, and their counterspells not do anything, and like exile their graveyard. But the sort of things that I'm doing just don't line up well against Solitude Ephemerate and Eternal Witness Ephemerate. You know, there's just not, I don't really have anything for that, for the things that you're doing.
Yeah, certainly.
And I
haven't followed like maybe the recent Amulet lists lately, that much. And when you sent me your list and I've seen it was 4 caverns, so I was like, wow, that's a lot. For a brief period, I was trying out playing Counterspell in the Folklore deck, and you know, I ended up not playing them, playing like Dovin's Veto instead, which like part of the reason was the fact that the creature I want to counter the most is typically, for the most part, Primeval Titan. A few more, but for the most part, Primeval Titan, and just you actually can't counter Primeval Titan like 60% of the time or even more. So it just felt kind of useless. So yeah, certainly with Folklore, there is also a decent amount of variability within the list and adaptability, and it kind of just so happens that kind of incidentally, I think, like partly because of Amulet, because I've seen a rise in Amulet's popularity in the like past few weeks, but kind of incidentally, regardless of Amulet too, I thought Time Warp is good overall to play right now, and Spreading Seas is a good main deck card to play, which like all kind of piles on and improves the matchup quite a bit. Certainly, if you were to play against a Folklore deck with no Seas and no Time Warps, something like, well, just like in all the Elementals list was kind of that. you'd probably have more of those easier games where you can assemble double amulets through Saga, or not worry about getting taken over in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, I did another one of these with Pygontia with Elementals, and I felt like the Amulet looked really good against Elementals in all of our matches. And in this, this is like a similar type of strategy, but it's a completely different, like, as far as how this just feels absolutely terrible for Amulet. And maybe if it weren't for the 3 Chalice of the Voids in the sideboard, if you just had other random cards in the sideboard, there's maybe somewhat more of a chance, because sometimes, like, I can get a quick Titan and start chaining Titans, and maybe you have a Solitude but you don't have the Ephemerate. If you don't have both Solitude and Ephemerate assembled, chaining Titans can usually be good against a strategy like this. But
yeah, we've seen that in one game where I had the Solitude, no Ephemerate, and kind of crumbled after exiling 1 or 2 Titans, don't remember exactly.
Yeah, but once Chalice of the Void for 0 comes down, that's a big problem. So I have to waste time destroying it, or I just can't play any Summoners packs, and then I just don't produce enough threats. You can easily answer, even without Ephemerate, you can Solitude and then just bounce it with Teferi or return it with Eternal Witness, and suddenly I'm out of threats and I can't really do anything. So
exactly. And again, the Chalice is like not even there for Amulet. It's like a tertiary, maybe secondary use of the Chalice, right? Because it's there incidentally, and it's gonna be there for like the foreseeable future, because
Rhinos, Living End, Burn.
Well, I don't use it against Burn. I play plenty 1-drops in this deck too, but yeah, for the Cascade decks, and like Amulet is like kind of an afterthought, but it happens to be fairly effective here too.
Yeah.
My chat asks, how do you feel about Karn right now? Which you touched on briefly in the beginning, but
yeah. So basically, I've been mostly on the tracker list. I think I've been liking having access to more of a sideboard, specifically like being able to have 3 engineered explosives post sideboard is really good against Rhinos in particular. So with the Karn list, I was finding Rhinos as more of a harder matchup. But with this list where I can bring in 3 engineered explosives, Rhinos becomes a lot less of a problem. Being able to run Gaia's Blessing as like just mill is just otherwise like just a terrible matchup for Titan, and you like the 1 card in the sideboard makes a huge difference. Like when you have Gaia's Blessing plus Endurance in your deck, it actually, I think mill becomes a good matchup. And I don't know, just generally, I think Tracker is a good threat right now. I think against like anything that's like blue-white control, Tracker is amazing. Karn is powerful, and I'm not off Karn, but I think Karn is at its best when there's something specific you want to be doing with Karn in the metagame. Like, so like when Belcher got really popular, Karn is very good. When there's artifact decks all over, Karn is very good. When there's a lot of Ashiok and Aether Gusts, Karn is very good. Right now, I think Karn's a great threat. Karn is you want a threat that you have when you don't draw Primeval Titan, because not drawing Primeval Titan is the #1 way to lose with Amulet. You lose more games to not drawing Primeval Titan than you do to anything else. And so you need an alternative threat. And so Karn is a good alternative threat. But I think Tracker as an alternative threat. I think it's a more inherently powerful card than Karn, just because like there can be games where you get Azusa plus Tracker or Dryad plus Tracker, and just like draw almost your whole deck in the course of like a few turns.
I have to say that Tireless Tracker didn't end up shining in the matches we've played.
Yeah, I mean, nothing really ended up shining in the matches we played. My deck just kind of didn't function for, I mean, like, so for that last match, like I had the Tireless Tracker and then I just didn't have fourth land, which like, I mean, yes, Tireless Tracker didn't look good there, but like nothing looks good there in...
That is true. That is true. A kind of an unfortunate reality of Amulet that, like,
yeah,
kind of baseline need to hit enough lands to operate, and that amount of lands is not that low. Even if you're playing 30 something lands in the deck, it still can be tough at times.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a bounce land and I was able to get like these I had the Azusa and the Tireless Tracker, and because I was on a mulligan to 5, and I'm like, well, maybe the Tireless Tracker can get me out of this mulligan, and I kept a land. It was like 3 lands, Tireless Tracker, Azusa, and then I just didn't draw a fourth land until like turn 6 or something, and by that point, I mean, that's just not even close to soon enough. So yeah.
Fair.
I mean, this is also a matchup, you know, if this deck becomes very popular, I would probably move back to Karn as well, because I think this is a type of matchup where Karn really shines, because you don't have as many answers to Karn as you do to Tracker.
Yeah, it's just would be good to have a threat that is not weak to Solitude, especially the way Solitude Ephemerate works, like where piling up threats actually makes you super open. My chat also jumped to suggest many other secondary threats you could use from the last throw on the sideboard. This one is probably questionable. Ren and 7.
Ren and 7.
Hive Minds too.
I don't think any of those cards are really where you want to be. I mean, Hive Mind only really works when you have a Pact in hand, and if you're playing Hive Mind, you have to be playing Pact of Negation. I think Hive Mind stopped really being good when there's a couple of things that made Hive Mind not good. So Force of Negation hurts Hive Mind because your opponent can I mean, one of the things that like Hive Mind used to be good against is like blue counterspell type decks. If they tapped out and you didn't have an amulet, it was like a way to close games. But I mean, with Force of Negation, they can just Force of Negation the Hive Mind. It also, like, a lot of decks have green in their mana base now. And I think Pact of Negation has gotten a lot less good over time. There's not a lot of slots left in the list now that there's Dryad in here, and also Teferi kind of makes Pact of Negation not good against most of the blue control decks, because like Pact of the Negation, one of the ways you used to use it was like to help force through a Titan, but with like 3 mana Teferi, it doesn't really help you force through Titans. So I think, you know, for like control decks, my plan is just like Pile of Cavernous Souls. Yeah.
I think it's a better plan now. I think I would like to second what you said about the Hive Mind. I periodically have the thought of revisiting it in Amulet because I liked it, you know, a lot when I played with Summer Bloom. But all of the points that you raised are valid, and also, you know, people now have counterspell instead of mana leak, so that also makes your Hive Mind
I forgot
worse.
probably the most important thing, which is Castle Garenbrig just changes the mana base so much.
Yeah, that's true. It's like actually not easy to cast. You have like 6 sources. Blue.
7 with Crumbling Vestige. I mean, I could run more. Like, you could always run. I mean, a lot of lists, you know, they'll run like 2 fetches and a breeding pool. I just found that the blue on breeding pool was just basically never mattering, and I just wanted like an extra basic over one of my fetches for like Blood Moon, having a green source under Blood Moon, and an extra Castle Garen Brig, rather than the breeding pool, because I just found the blue on breeding pool wasn't mattering. Like most of the time when you're transmuting anymore, it's off of a Dryad or like a double Amulet Simic Growth Chamber, like is when you transmute, or like Primeval Titan with Amulet of Vigor, you get like Simic Talaria. But it's not like it used to be more like, like turn 3 or 4, sometimes like transmute was the right play, but like I just don't think that's what Amulet's doing anymore. Like that's just too slow.
But that's fair. There were some situations in our games where I think at least like once or twice you played a Dryad, and I was fearful of you following up with a second fetch land, because I foolishly didn't check closely for how many fetch lands are there in your deck list. There is just that one, Wooded Foothills. It can be very powerful to follow up a Dryad or, well, Tracker with a fetch land for the double landfall triggers, but certainly you don't even need Breeding Pool for that if you were to play like a second fetch.
Yeah, so I mean, the question is it better for a 5th forest or a second fetch land? I mean, there's definitely, with Tracker, there's definitely incentive for fetch land, and with Dryad, there's definitely incentive for fetch land. I'm also, but I don't know. I find, so often this deck gets into situations where my opponent lands a Blood Moon, and the only draws in my deck that matter are Force of Vigor and Basic Forest. Like that comes up very, very often, and so that's where I'm on the 5th forest right now. But and I mean, not that this is like a big thing or anything, but like it is one less life. I mean, I know that's probably silly to mention, but like it's also there.
Obviously is an upside of a Basic Forest. Chat is also very interesting about what you think about Ren and 5. No, not 5. Ren and 7,
Ren
the
and
5
7.
mana.
I haven't played it. I've seen. I think the card is bad. I think there was one challenge that somebody top-aided with or something like that, and I believe they tweeted afterwards that they cut it in every single matchup. Like it's just not really a good alternative threat. I mean, if you're gonna do a Planeswalker, just do Karn. Like Karn is very good. Karn liquid metal coating wins a lot of games of Magic. It hoses a lot of decks. It gets through a lot of the hate cards like Blood Moon and Ashiok and Aether Gust, things that are really problems for the deck, and I think it like answers a lot of the problems of the decks really well. So if you want to play a Planeswalker, I think just play Karn. I mean,
I can sympathize with that, as I've played one league with Ren 7 and Amulet, and it was not very good.
Yeah.
The times it was good, it was like a funny win more moments where I was like able to put 7 lands into play with the 0 ability, but I didn't need it to win the game. There's also one card that I personally am interested in Amulets, and that is Gretchen Titchwell, which I don't think I've seen you playing in like any of your lists.
Yeah, I haven't tested it yet. I need to get around to it at some point. I know Jose Moniz, who's a really good Amulet player, really likes Gretchen. It's basically the point of playing Gretchen is to be able to draw your whole deck with double Amulet, which like in a matchup like this, there can be situations where Primeval Titan just isn't enough. But then drawing your whole deck is.
Yeah, for example, the game where you play Triple Titan and died, right? So
yeah,
I'm not exactly sure if Gretchen would be good enough to win in a game like this.
I also
because you
think
need to be able to activate her twice to fight for removal, but potentially she could actually solve like some of the weakness to Solitude problem in a tiny, to some extent.
Yeah, I was really curious, and I'm thinking back to that game, and I was trying to decide between Triple Titan and Double Titan, because the Triple Titan is obviously very weak to Solitude plus Ephemerate exactly, but then the like Double Titan, you might just Solitude one of the Titans and then like Eternal Witness, or I don't know. I was kind of like thinking that the Triple Titan was weak only to specifically like Solitude plus Ephemerate, and the Double Titan, like there's possibilities that was just too slow and that you would get me. But I was wondering your thoughts if maybe you think that Double Titan might have been the better play in that situation.
I haven't thought about that during the game, because I was like kind of waiting for you to perform your plays, but that's actually kind of true.
Yeah.
If you read my hand as Soul to the Ephemerate, which is probably kind of hard to really read, but like if you think that you want to play, if you decide you want to play around that, then Double Titan will actually be a decent way to do that. I think you'll be left with mostly nothing afterwards, and then I probably would struggle to beat the third Titan. It's a really hard decision to make from the Amulet's player standpoint. So
yeah, I mean, I think I was also worried about things like Solitude one of the Titans and then like Prismatic ending one of the Amulets, because I was kind of putting you on Prismatic ending, I think, just based on the fact that you like weren't casting things, like, and I don't know, I figured you'd probably keep a Prismatic ending if you had one after the mulligans, so as a way to go for Amulet. But I don't know. It's a tricky matchup to play. I obviously didn't play perfectly. I conceded way too fast in our first game. I missequenced the turn as well, the turn that I conceded. But it didn't end up mattering.
Well, there's no universe where players in tournaments play perfect. There's always something floating here. Like actually, I don't remember if I've read like some Patrick Chapin's article from ages ago where he was saying that when he playtests before Pro Tours, she like doesn't allow for like takebacks in games, because like some people want that because intuitively they say, oh, let me cast a removal spell on your creature B, not on creature A, because that was a mistake. But there is no takes boxes at the PTN. Like you can't expect players to always play perfectly.
No,
so
I
actually prefers to play in the like actual mother.
Certainly, yeah. No, I'm not trying to say, oh, that's a game I should have done whatever, or like I should have gone back, or like I know there's people who like say like, oh, I got a 3-2, but I punted one game and timed out another game, and it's like, yeah, but also you don't know like if your opponent's misplayed on your wins or anything, so it's like it doesn't, people count like these 3-2s as like a mental 5-0 when it's like, no, like you gotta accept what happens. I'm just trying to think back to like what things I could have done differently, thinking about the play patterns of these games, and what are my takeaways of how I can improve from it. I mean, certainly like Amulet's a really, really, really hard deck to play. I mean, I've been playing it for like a decade, and obviously I still make lots of mistakes playing it. So it's not an easy deck to pilot, and I think making play mistakes is sort of like an occupational hazard of the deck.
Obviously, I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for doing this. I'm going to put a link down to your Twitch and to your Twitter in the YouTube description. Was there anything else? Anything else you like, a Patreon or anything you would like to promote before we go?
Just those links are gonna be okay, and be sure to share the link with me so I can
all right,
share with my viewers.
Well, once again, thank you so much. I had a lot of fun doing this. It's really cool to be able to do this with a player of as high of quality as you are, which is really getting to see what the matchups look like when I'm playing against somebody who really knows their deck. And yeah, I think I'm good. If you're good, I had a really great time, and thank you so much.
Thank you very much for playing.
All right, see ya.
All right, chat. Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy playing with other player, discussing the lines and doing stuff? What high quality player are we talking about? We proved that 4-color has a great matchup against 4-color. And this time it was Nicolas reaching out to me and asking if I want to do this. But I think I can try to maybe make this a bit more of a common occurrence on stream, where we maybe reach out to other streamers and try to combine our efforts together to like focus on the matchup, also like discuss the lines, etc. So I think I'll be looking into that, because it was pretty fun to do too. When you're playing against somebody who's like kind of able and invested. And in a league you play against a random person, so different things can happen. But it's pretty good. We're going to resume the stream and play leagues, but I have to restart the stream because I have to change one setting in the audio, because I don't want the audio track to be saved on the VOD anymore. So I'll be blasting Gachi for the rest of the stream, or whatever you request, actually. So I have to briefly restart. It's gonna happen in a minute. A deep dive on the Belcher matchup with Sodek would be interesting. Well, just fucked me over 7 times with this. I'm not sure how interesting that would be, but maybe with something else. Maybe it would be kind of nice to play against, let's say, like a dedicated like hammer player or something like that, but I don't know many of those. So I'll be restarting the stream. I'll be back in just a few seconds, chat.